All right, so this is the video where we're going to build our first AI agent. And we're going to talk a little bit about the anatomy of AI agents, what make up AI agents, what needs to be possible in order for AI agents to work. And we're going to start by going to Windsurf and just asking it to build us a simple turtle game. Like, I'm not even going to I'm just going to ask it to make a turtle game. So I want you to create a folder called Turtle Game and create like a turtle game for me. I don't care what it is, just make one. So basically, here we go. And I use like a speech to text, but let's kind of see what it cooks up. So you can say it's kind of thinking what it needs to do. First, let's create the turtle game folder. Okay, so it kind of knows. And then again, these were like things it has access to. So it's basically, okay, creating like a tool, kind of keeping, okay. So it has access to a tool. If tool kind of is like a new language, we'll talk about making our own tools. And you can see that it's creating the turtlegame.py. Yeah, it's gonna take its sweet time. All right, so okay, now it's creating a README. As you can see, it's kind of like running this and kind of passing it again just to kind of see what is the next decision. We'll be making a small agent that kind of goes over things like this. Okay, README is done. Okay, so we can run the game now. It's going to give us an error because it's Python 3. Oh, no, it's another error. Checked command status. See, it kind of ran it because it knew it was not fully done. So it's kind of going again and kind of finding the end state. Okay, so it's editing it again. Okay, so let's run it again. Still having issues, bro. And we're using Sonnet 3.7. So it's thinking about the thought process. And, okay, Python turtle game. The game is now running. Okay, so it says it wants you to go to the terminal. And we're going to cd into turtle game. And then we're going to run this. Yeah. This version of TK is deprecated and removed in the future. So here, basically, it started with the process. It thought about it. It ran multiple functions and looked at what it looked like at that time. Looked at the output from the terminal, ran it again. And it's kind of this process of like looping, right? So we didn't talk about looping. And it kind of kept on looping until I thought it was right. It was not right in this case. Sometimes agents can be like that. But after a certain point, it was like, oh, it decided that the end condition happened. So it was like, okay, I'll stop now. But we'll go back and look at what are the components of AI agents. So decision making, which was the control logic. In this case, it was like the functions it was calling. So it was like, okay, I need to make a file. I need to write code, what code to write, blah, blah, blah. State manager is very interesting. It kind of knows what the whole process is at, to kind of, kind of make the next decision. So if it's tried something, you don't want it to get stuck in the loop, right? Function calls are tools like edit file, run file, blah blah blah, and loops are kind of doing it again and again. It will make all sense in a minute. So decisions. So there are millions of combinations that you can go through while writing the code, which is kind of decided by the LLM. Some tools might not follow each other, like erasing a file before creating it, but it speaks to the complexity of the decision space. And I'm going to try to explain to you how complicated it gets. Let's say you have 6 tools. Let's say create file, append to file, run test, commit changes, fetch dependency. These are like 6 tools. And if you kind of have to, if a task kind of takes 2 calls, that could be a possible of 36 sequences, right? Because you can do like fetch dependencies, run tests. I know they don't make sense here, but that's the idea. And if you have 6 tools and then you have to do 4 tasks, it kind of goes to 1200, and you can see it kind of keeps going up. So this is something I made. So basically, if you have, let's say, 5 tools and then you kind of have to do 9 sequences, it's like the decision space is like, I don't even know what that is. So basically you can see that you can adjust these, and you kind of need like a really, really complicated bar chart. So even if you have like very small number of tools, and if there's like 9 sequences, it still goes to 20,000. But as you kind of increases the tool, like it just kind of, the decision space goes really crazy. So if you were going to program in if else's, good luck. Good luck. You needed an LLM, something like that. That's why computers were like really, really like very precise, because there was no complexity of LLMs here. So let's talk about the state. So the decision space kind of keeps changing of like, oh, you created a file. You kind of need to keep that information in mind when you write the next piece of code. This can be stored in a prompt, the state, or it can be stored in an external database. So you pass the state inside the prompt, which that's what an AI agent is basically. It's like a long ass prompt. Function calls is tools. So LLMs can execute code, surprisingly, but a program is very good at it, like a calculator, or running a code, like running the code. So the LLM has access to these function calls that could be made as the program runs. So most common function calls are like calculator, internet search, file management for IDs like Windsurf and Cursor. Loops, we need to keep making decisions until we've reached the end task. This basically requires us to keep calling the LLM again until we're done. How do we know we're done? The LLM decides, and we can kind of write that in the prompt. So now we're going to build an AI agent from scratch, no frameworks, just plain in Python and using an LLM. And that kind of will speak volumes to if we are going to use an orchestration platform and why it's necessary. So basically, this is an agent that calculates the price of the portfolio of your stock using a stock fetch tool and a calculator. So let's kind of go to our Windsurf and do that. So I'm going to go to version 0, which basically is creating a simple class called an agent. And you can see that in the constructor function, you're basically creating the client for the OpenAI. The environment file is going to have the OpenAI key, which is not showing here. And then you basically have, you're just a helpful assistant. So I'm just going to clear everything, and I'm just going to run this code in Python. So basically what we're going to do now is we're going to run Python now, Python 3. And we're going to say from version 0 import agent. There we go. So it's going to import the agent, and we're going to say agent, and then we're going to say agent dot send message, and you can see this is the function, and we're going to say send message, and this is just an LLM, so we can say whatever, like, so we can say hello, and you're going to say, it's going to say hello back, how can I assist you? So let's kind of go back to the V2 for this. So this was a V0 or V1. So first we're going to create these tools, which are regular functions. It's very simple. It's just like a function which calls this API for Yahoo Finance. And it just basically takes a symbol and it returns that particular thing. So you can see it's Apple, and it gives you the stock bag. And this is a calculator. Basically you pass an expression and it evaluates the expression. And basically this is the prompt. It basically has the tools it's given, and just basically pauses, and then basically gives you the instructions. Okay, so when you need to use a tool, respond strictly with the following format. So it gives you the question, the thought, the action, and the action input. And if you don't need to use a tool, basically when everything is done, you give your final answer, and then after your action is performed and observation is provided, you will continue with the thought process. And yeah, only use the tools that are available. So now what we're doing is running version 2. And if you go to version 2, my apologies, version 1, we have this prompt, which, as you know, I showed you before. These are the tools, and you can see that they're in this file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Python 3. Right? There we go. So I'm going to, from the tools, I'm going to import all the tools here, right? And I'm going to say from version 1, import agent, because I also want to import the agent, right? And then I'm going to create an agent here. So basically, this is kind of running the Python code that you normally in a program, but you're running it in a terminal. And I'm going to say agent.send message. So I'm saying I have 3 Tesla and 3 Amazon stocks. I want to calculate the total value of my portfolio. You can see like the number of stocks. You can have 100 of them and it will kind of still figure out. And basically, this is what it gave. And then it says to run this action for Tesla first. So I'll just basically say data. I'll call str, and then I want to say get stock price right here. I'll add this. And then inside this bracket, I'll add TSLA. There we go. And close the bracket. And then I'll just print the data. And you can see that this is the data. So 325, that's like very current price. So it automatically fetched that. So now I'm just gonna do this thing where I'm gonna just do agent.send message. So basically I'm just gonna pass the data in. So it's just having the data, but over here you can see that it just has the whole chat. So it passes all the previous information in there as well. So I can just do that. And the next step it gave, it basically says get stock price Amazon. And the ticker is AMZN. So I'm just gonna use this, and I'm gonna say Amazon. And I'm just gonna pass in the data again to the send message. And it's just gonna give us right here, it gave us the calculator and the expressions. So I'm just gonna put data again, and I'm gonna put str. Apparently the calculate is not spelled correctly because it's actually calculator. There is a problem with the prompt, which will be corrected later. And then I can just put this expression in, right? Okay, there we go. I'll just put, okay, there we go. So fingers crossed. And I'm just gonna put the data back in again. Okay, so basically it thought it through, and action is it's the final answer. So later what we can do is we can process that answer and then only stop when the answer is final. Okay. So yeah, so basically this was kind of running the version 1, just kind of under the hood, what it will look like. And we're gonna just go to version 2 now. You saw the prompt. But version 2 is basically creating a loop and parsing. So parsing the information. So if it's basically if it's like you just split the result, get the action and the input, and basically return the action and the input right here. And then here basically you get the task, and then you get the response, and then you extract the action and the input. And if the action is just an action, you just basically run the functions, and if it's not, you just basically return the actual response in this case. So here we go. This is the main function, which is calling everything together. If you go back to our Windsurf and then we exit everything, and then we just basically run Python 3 and version 2.py. This would basically ask us the same question. So we can say, I have a portfolio of 3 Tesla and 3 Amazon stocks. What is the value of my portfolio? You can see that it's making those iterations and kind of looping the thing in, so it does the same thing. And then there we go. The value is 1612. And you can do the same thing with a larger stock as well. So this was kind of the idea of how you can build your own agent, which has access to tools, state, and you are able to like give it a very, very wide task. It can have 50 stocks. It will just go and know what to do, and it will do those steps. If you're kind of building it like in the control logic, you can see how complicated that can get. So the components of control logic is the LLM returns the next decision in this case. As you can see in our, as you can see it in the prompt, it returns the thing that it needs to do next. It has access to the tools, the calculator, and the stock tracker, and state is basically passed again and again. And it basically ends with a condition of the prompt, as you can see here. So basically returns if it's not an action, which is meaning it's none. And here it's basically appending all the existing messages that it's getting to the messages array. So this was basically creating an agent from scratch. And in the next chapter, we'll talk about how you can use an orchestration platform like Crew AI to just not worry about anything and then do this instantly. So I'll see you in the next one. Take care.